Hey, what's going on, guys? This is J Noir. Some of you guys may be familiar with me. Most people probably will not. And this is a relatively new channel. It's been a long time since I've made a video. But this video isn't about me, and most of them won't be. So, let me just move on. This video is about Nick Fuentes and the impact that he is having on the world around. And it's not so much that just, I mean, okay, let me put it like this. It's not his suit that's having the impact. It's not his haircut. It's his words that are having the impact and the ideas that are behind those words. So let's watch his most recent video and see just through my logic, and let's just see if the outrage is justified. Anyway, let's have a look.
Pictures of trannies, pictures of Brigitte Macron's penis.
Fuck Mark Levin! Guac, is this true?
Mommy, I'm hungry. Brigitte Macron killed everybody. Hey, we don't like y'all. They're Frankists. Goyim are not people. Like, okay. Nigga Gibbon, what up? Fuck you, dude. Like, fuck you. A nigga is tired.
Israel did 9/11!
I love to see Italians beating the shit out of hillbillies. I love it. Ah! Okay, so you're Jewish, obviously. White ass niggiving. They're in Nazi Germany making chocolate. He's just a cuck. I'm the king of the North. Fucker. I need to marry a white person. I've always liked Stalin. We all started talking like greasers.
Okay, let me just say this one thing. Just right off the rip, and I don't watch a lot of his stuff, and I've never watched the intro to one of his videos, but I really don't think he was being serious about anything that he just said. I don't know how close some of that stuff is to his actual opinions, but I didn't see anything just then that was, I don't know. I just felt like, I'm not saying that these are the kind of jokes that I make, but I definitely didn't feel like any hate speech happening right then. And I'm not going to use that term. I'm just saying this is the word that people would use in reference to him. I didn't hear anything anti-Semitic. Okay, anyway, let's just keep going.
Shut up.
Gross! Larry Silverstein's a piece of shit!
You fucking Yankee. You're an idiot. Order number 67. 80% of the population is completely fucking retarded.
True.
Hail Macron, honestly, it's just such a Faustian way of dealing with Russian propagandists. Do you think Candy will be hiding in Moscow by the end of the year?
No, I mean, look, I will believe it when I see evidence. Here's the thing. Candace Owens says, oh, they're trying to kill me. We haven't seen a shred of evidence. Like, where's the evidence? She just sounds crazy. She's going on Instagram saying that Brigitte Macron's ancestors were chocolatiers in Nazi Germany. I'm not making this up. They're Judenrat chocolatiers. They're Jewish spies or something, or they're ratting out the Jews. I didn't follow that actually, what she was saying about that, but that's the word she used. She said they were like Jewish spies in Nazi Germany running a chocolatier. They were chocolatiers. Then they came over to America in Project Paperclip. And then Brigitte Macron was a victim of MK Ultra and the Stanford prison experiment. And then she was given over to Macron to like spy.
One more thing. I don't do enough research into that stuff to say whether or not Candace Owens is lying, but she definitely does have some outlandish claims, you know, that yeah, I can see what he's saying here. I don't know. Again, you know, I'm learning. I'm learning with you guys. You tell me what you think.
On him on behalf of Israel. And that's why Macron is protected by Mossad. Like, that's the story. And Charlie Kirk was killed because she was going to blow the whistle, and now she's going to get killed by the French. And it's like, what a coincidence that all those conspiracies are connected to this, right? Like, Brigitte Macron. And like, you know what is really funny? Their only evidence that Brigitte Macron is a man is that they ran her face through facial recognition AI, and she has a partial match with a childhood photo of her brother. That's the evidence. And from that,
Although I have watched a video from Candace Owens about that particular topic, and I feel like there was a little bit more evidence than that. But, you know, I could be wrong. I'll make another video about that at some point. That's not what this is about. It's more about this bloke here.
we are getting the rest. So we are extrapolating, this 80-year-old woman looks like this grainy photo of her brother as a child. So based on that, we could go back to the French Revolution. The Trognos were missionaries during the White Lotus Rebellion in China. That's why they call the show White Lotus. Centuries later, they're Frankists. And they're in Nazi Germany making chocolate, and then they get sent to America with Werner Braun and Project Paperclip. Then they're in Stanford Prison Experiment and getting MK Ultra. Now they killed Charlie Kirk. And they're like Forrest Gump. They're like Forrest Gump times 6 million. The Trognos. It's like sympathy for the devil. They were the Knights Templar. They were the Illuminists. They were the Masons. They were the Bolsheviks. They were the Nazis. They were the CIA. If she could produce a shred of...
Again, he does have a point. Some of her claims are a bit outlandish. Not saying they're not true. I don't know. I'm just here.
evidence, I might find it believable. I don't wish any harm on her. I hope she's okay. I hope her family's okay. I hope it's not real. I don't want her to get murdered, obviously. I want her to live a long and happy life. But I just don't see any evidence. It sounds totally insane. It sounds totally insane to me.
Also, do you think Matt Walsh is being blackmailed to stay at DW or just a cuck for Ben's money?
He's just a cuck. When are you guys going to learn? Is he being blackmailed? Yeah, the demons took control of his body. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Okay. Again, this is the first time I've watched a show of his. I've just seen clips. So far he just seems like he's not being like, I get that he's a serious person, but I don't know. Okay. And I get that it's the controversial opinions that people don't like, but at the same time, if a person has, 1,000 things to say and 80 of them you don't like, and let's say 80 of them are really, really bad, but the other, 980 things that they say resonate with most people, and that's the things that they're hearing, and that's the reason why he's gaining popularity. Anyway, I don't think that focusing on those 80 is a winning tactic. You're going to have to combat the ideas if they're incorrect, but let's just see what his ideas are here. As far as Matt Walsh being cucked, it's possible that he has to avoid certain topics because of the company that he works for, but I think he's still kind of a funny guy, even though his shtick, as Nick Fuentes has said, the angry white man shtick is, it's a stick. Okay, let's go.
On the third day of darkness, the demons took control of him, and the chemtrails went up his nose, and he became totally controlled by Israel. Yeah, some people are just a very low character. It's that simple, Not everything's a conspiracy, actually.
Not attacking either. But what does Tucker mean when he says America and Christianity don't believe in collective punishment? Isn't Hiroshima and the Amalek genocide a form of a collective punishment? Not saying it was unjustified, but it clearly fits the term and counters his point directly.
So you're just like obtuse on purpose. Morocco's America's closest ally. Muslims aren't oppressing women. Oh, okay. Yeah. What does he mean? What about the Dukes?
Love watching people interviewing you ask questions that would make you crash out if they were super chats. What's more dangerous? TikTok, fentanyl, or of? Bro even used the Austrian painter line.
The Austrian painter thing was crazy. Who are your top 5 favorite artists besides Bach and the Austrian painter? It's like, let's see. Favorite artists?
Hitler, Mozart, Wagner.
Right. And, you know, obviously you can pick up on these joking here, but he's also pointing out just a weak conversation tactic, like to ask a question and then like include that obviously one of your favorite artists is Hitler. It's just a dumb way to communicate. It's like you think that you're taking some jab, but in reality, you're just I don't know, showing yourself to be low IQ and not combating any points, just trying to fucking just geek little gotchas, little not even gotcha. It's just more like a I don't know, just a petty little jab. Anyway, let's go on.
Kanye, but only when he's saying Hail Hitler. Who are your favorite? Like, really? Who's the Michael Jackson?
And I get that a lot of people are offended by people who make fun of retards, but that's neither here nor there. I actually, yeah, I love the word. I don't exactly do that voice, but we'll continue on.
Mel Gibson. I was like internally dying. But look, I mean, I'm a nice guy. When I'm with a person, I can be a little friendlier than when it's just a text coming through. But yeah, that was crazy. Who's your favorite artist? Is it Hitler? Is it Hitler? Is it Bach? Probably Hitler.
Okay, and also this is a damn side point, but what he just said about like, because I do prefer people to text me. Anyway, we'll get back to that later.
Probably Hitler. Favorite painter, Hitler. Favorite actor, Mel Gibson. Favorite musical artist, Richard Wagner. No, that was a little funny. That was kind of funny.
Anon 1369420 sent $50. What do you think of Parafthal's MTF arc?
Male to female.
Yo, and I'm going to get into this in the future, but that guy Anon just, whoever that Anon person was, just sent the message. Jeez. Sorry about that. Get myself composed here. Anyway, I do want to touch on the Anon thing here in a bit, though. But the Anon movement or the Anon energy got definitely channeled into being something more of a Republican MAGA movement. And I want to get on why that is later, but that is definitely not the point of this video either. I don't even know if anyone's watching, but if you are, I really appreciate it. I'll check it out in a minute. A little bit shy about that right now. Let's go.
Male to female. Yeah, well, it's interesting. He detransitioned at my urging. He transitioned to a girl, and then I said, no, you got to become a guy. I urged him on the show. I said, time to be a guy now. And he did it. He became a guy. Now he wants to become a girl again. I'm like, you didn't really give it a chance, though. How long did you really be a guy? You didn't really give it a chance. You can't be a quitter like that. You got to give it time. He went from male to male for 2 seconds and then said, I don't like it. I want to be a girl again. Like, you got to give it a chance. You gotta lay in it. You know, watch the game. Watch the big game. Go fishing. Go gamble. I literally do none of these things, but like, you know, you got to really live in it for a little while. You got to discover and get in touch with that. So I think he's quitting. He's quitting too soon. He went back to being a guy and said, okay, this sucks. I got to be a girl again. It's like, brother, just ride it out. So, but you know, his life, his prerogative, but I would highly recommend not becoming a girl again.
Goy Slop Retard 69 sent $25. Piers Morgan had a panel of 4 to discuss you. Jake Shields and the other guy did a lot to defend you. Rabbi Shmuley and the Republican guy were awful. I wish Piers would invite you on.
Yeah, I can't watch Shmuley. He's too ridiculous. He's too ugly to look at. Like, it actually makes my stomach hurt looking at his face. Is too ugly.
Okay.
So I thought Jake did a great job. The other guy don't.
Wait, let me just say this. As far as Rabbi Shmuley's attractiveness, yeah, that was a crass way of putting it. And in a culture that, or in a society that has been, in a lot of ways, people think that it has been getting away from talking like that. It doesn't mean that people don't want to talk like that. And not everyone has agreed that calling someone ugly is out of bounds, I guess, you know, and apparently he's not a person who's agreed on that. I would say that Rabbi Shmuley, he looks a little like greasy. I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about. If not, you Google him because I'm not really set up for that right now. Maybe on the next one. I'm just playing this Nick video right now, but we're going to continue on. I also think it's weird though that on Pierce Morgan they have shows talking about Nick Fuentes, but they won't let him on the show to talk. And it's only making him larger, because if he has an idea that they want to talk to him about or that they totally disagree with, or, and again, if you want to get him on the show and then just cherry pick some of the crazier things that he said, those crazier things are not the reason why he has so many followers. I mean, I'm sure that there are some people who follow him specifically because he might say something that might sound, I don't know, like I don't want to use the word racist, but sure, we can say racist just for the sake of things. Let's say he said something that sounded racist, and there could be people who are racist that are fired up by that. It's just not the majority of what he says, though. And actually, a majority of what his point is about this island in the Middle East. They have these little hats. I know I said island, that was stupid, but I meant a little country that I can't talk about. And if I do, so the fact that there's a topic that I can't talk about, but he does talk about, I think that those kind of topics are the ones that people are mostly interested, not how he feels about Stalin. But anyway, let's continue on with what he was talking about.
No. So I'm not familiar with him, but he did a great job too. He was very aggressive. So I thought they both did a really nice job, but honestly I had to tap out after like 15 minutes because the guy's just too disgusting.
Rishdell sent $20. What level of threat do you see Palantir posing to an America First future? Carp has said Gotham Europa stopped the rise of the far right. Could that mean preventing terrorist attacks and destabilization that fuel the far right? I know about the connections with Israel, but is there any evidence that suggests that Palantir could be used against a movement like AF? God bless.
Okay. Thank you for the big super chat. What level of threat? About this much. This level. This level, I would say.
What level of threat do you see Palantir posing to an America First future?
It's just like people can't think. Like, can you think critically? Or what's wrong with you? Like, you don't see how. So, what is Palantir? They're a software company, they're a data company. They use AI and algorithms to make data usable. They're all Jewish. It's a front for Mossad. Their guys are all over the DOW now. They're getting all the contracts. You don't see how that might possibly be used in the context of digital ID, pre-crime, federal surveillance. You don't see how that might be used to analyze all the people that have criticized Israel and prevent them from entering America's border.
You know, side note, in America, so let me see. Okay, if I were to criticize Mexico and say that, you know, the cartels are bringing over fentanyl, is that anti-Hispanic rhetoric? Or is it just asking, or if I said, okay, wow, do you think that the cartels are bringing over too much fentanyl? If is that anti-Hispanic rhetoric? And then somehow that same logic when you talk about these people. Entirely different set of rules that is now applied. Anyway, let's go on.
Borders. You don't see how that might be used to subject those people to surveillance. Like it's obvious why that's a problem of them getting in defense tech. It's obvious.
Grow Up Man 762 sent $25. Hey Nick, my mom says you're satanic and she loves Israel. What can I do to change her mind? Base Kale sent $150. No message.
Thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it.
Stalin.
How can I convert my boomer parents? My mom loves Israel. How do I, like, what, am I a robot? Am I Chat GPT? You have like millions of people asking simultaneously, like, hey, ChatGPT. Hey, Guac, is this true? Hey, Guac. Guac, is this true? Hey, Guac. Hey, Guac, how do I convince my mom to be there? Shut up, bro. That's what the show is about. This show is an informational resource that teaches you about these topics. It's like, this would be like if I was putting on a live demonstration about.
As a piece of advice, I would say one of the ways that you could probably maybe not convince your boomer parents to think this way or that, but at least the way to engage that conversation would be to just talk in a different way. And I'm not like trying to tone police at all. It's just something, and I know this is a cliche saying, but you get more bees with honey, and especially with disseminating information. And to a degree, if you're trying to rally your base, then saying it in a crass way and getting everybody fired up and sort of driving in the wedge in the division between yourself and the person that, or the group of people that you're referring to, it charges up that part of your base, but it doesn't give much of an avenue for a person who, might be, I don't know, maybe they could be intelligent enough to understand your point, but the fact that it's becoming also, and they're not intelligent enough to understand your point if it's latent with off-putting language. They get emotionally charged there. So anyway, that would be a piece of advice that I would throw. I'm not saying that is the piece of advice. Let's go.
Our cars every day. Okay, today we're going to change the oil. Today we're going to change a tire. And then in the end of the show, you said, hey, how do I teach my mom how to fix a flat tire? That's what the show's about. That's what the show's about. The show is me explaining and breaking these things down to you so you have the information. And then you ask, how do I convince them? The show is me convincing you. This show is me convincing you. Take the show, use it to, like, Goyim are not people. Like, okay, Goyim, dude, when Goyim say that they're people, brother, Goyim are not people. Sorry, but as much as I have my disagreements with the Jews, they are right about one thing. Goyim are not people. Okay, they're not. But we still have to care for them. We still have to take care of them. Goyim are not. Yo, Barry Weiss, high five. Goyim are not people. So true, Queen, and it's so true, and I say it all the time. Goyim are not people. Me and Ben Shapiro. Yo, Ben Shapiro, down low, up top. So fucking true, King. Cheers to that. I get why Matt Walsh does it now. Clink, clink. Oh, man, yeah, that's brutal.
Note Indy 12 cents, $75. We should all start buying Boomer's 1950s classics, which are depreciating in price, and drive them around, showcasing American heritage and beauty for American first movement, just like the Angelinos in LA Lowrider movement. Thoughts, Lowell?
Then they said Goyim are people. What if we, and then what, dude? Then everybody clapped. What if we all bought Twad cars? Fuck you, dude. Like, straight up, fuck you to death. I would rape you to death.
Jeez, bro. Okay, I can see where that is not the way I would have put that. Jeez, I'm gonna have to bleep that out if I leave this up there. Oh man, I probably just got a strike on my first video. All right. Anyway, let's go, Nick. Get to the point, or a point.
No offense. That's got to be the dumbest super chat I've ever seen. That takes the prize. And what if we all started talking like this? We all started talking like greasers. We all had a toothpick.
That's actually okay. I get the point. I'm sorry. That just was a weird way of putting it. But the point is, yeah, that's not the way to enact change or to make a statement. Let's all wear blue shirts tomorrow.
Hey, and it's like the 50s. Fuck you, dude. Like, fuck you. If the movement were in the hands of people like you, we would go straight to hell. Like, and God it would be a mercy. It would be a fucking mercy. The ground would open up and hell would swallow us all, and we would be grateful.
White Suburban Roy percent 20.
The world you would create.
White Suburban Roy percent $20.
What if we wore classic American clothes and drove American cars? And yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe Goyim aren't people. Maybe Ben Shapiro. Like, the more that I listen to super chats, the more I'm like, they're right. Like, the Jews are right. The more I listen to super chats, it's like, brother, we have like a mainstream audience now. The audience used to be small and like very dedicated and loyal and hardcore.
Hold on, man. Disrespectful to the mainstream. I mean, I think he's a smart guy, and he is a smart guy. Yeah, he is a smart guy, but average is average, and most people are average. So,
Now we have this like huge mainstream audience, and we're getting people that just say the craziest shit. And you're like, wow, you know what? Like, man, oh man. Oh, if you're not a Groiper,
If you're not a Groiper at the age of 18, you have no heart. If you're not a Zionist before age 35, I'm not going to complete that, but it's like, damn, you're like, we're really out here.
Sicko sent
Niggas is
$20.
really
Hey
out
Nick, I
here.
worked for the government in Canada. Called my dad the other night, and I heard your voice in the background. I asked him who he was watching, and he said some kid named Nick Fuentes. Dad has been red-pilled without my help. Thank you.
Let's go, base dad.
Freedom
Dad
Marley,
is,
13 cents,
hey,
$65.
mom, dad
It
is
would be cool if
based.
America First could become an organization with a model like the Daily Wire, with more personalities than just yourself. Grow/diversify the message. Every friendship
Great.
hero needs a Matt Walsh, smiley face emoji.
Get a pen and paper. I need to write these down. Okay, so let's see. Start an America First party. Be like Daily Wire. Hire more hosts. Create a guide on, what was that other guy talking about? Diversity something.
Larry Silverstein is a piece of shit devil cunt sent $25. What good, Nick? Since you're commander-in-chief of the America First movement, would it be annoying if I print out a bunch of America First stickers and post it on every stop sign to get the message out?
Yeah, please don't do that.
Peterson.
Hey, Larry Silverstein is a piece of shit devil cunt. Please don't try to represent me in any way. I'm begging you. Guy who's like so invested. Username? Larry Silverstein's a piece of shit. Like, who are you people? Who are you people? Like, what? Guys like, create an account. Okay. Enter your username.
Okay, so the other time that I've watched him, it is kind of like he just, I guess, in these cases, these comments are actually on his side. There are a lot of comments that try to come in arguing with him, but these people are actually on his side. He's roasting them too. And maybe it's a good point. I mean, I guess if your friend walked in and he just looked ridiculous, which I guess we're assuming these people were his friend, if they're agreeing with him, or at least internet, we're on the same team here. They're on the same team. And your friend walked in and he just looked ridiculous. I guess you could say that. Maybe still answer his question, but
Name. All right. Fuck Mark Levin. choose a password. Choose a password. All right. Israel did 9/11. You need a special character. Exclamation point. Think they got the message on that one? You think you got the message across?
oh shit, my fault.
Guys like signing up for his Chick-fil-A app. Pick a username. Pick a unique username. Don't include your birthday or last name. Ha, don't worry about that. October 7th was fake. That's my username. What do you think about that? You go to like Burger King. Larry Silverstein is the devil. Your Whopper is ready. Order number 67. Yeah, please don't. Please don't try to represent me. I can only imagine what that looks like and what's going on over there. I don't even want to know. He's like, and the best is like it crescendoed. The username, Larry Silverstein is a piece of shit devil, and then all caps, cunt, like he got mad as he was.
Okay, he's actually got a good point here, and I'll give you an example of this. God, some of you guys are gonna hate me, but I'm sure they're like, I don't know if anybody's even watching, but the people who would watch a video like this, some of you might hate me if I said, I think the fact that everybody gets grouped together is already an issue. So that's why I've never really claimed to be a Republican, or I don't even know what being a Groiper means. I know it means following Nick Fuentes, but I don't know what that means. I'd have to see a list before I'd claim to be anything like that. I think some of the stuff he says is interesting and funny. Not everything he says that I agree with. I don't know if that would qualify me to be. So anyway, I have to see the list. But the point is, when you start signing up to be in groups, or you start grouping people, goddamn, I'm kind of high. I'm making a mistake here. So wait, what the fuck was he just saying? Oh yeah. So people who claim to be a part of your group, anything that they do is a representative of your group. So something like this happened with like people who might be having a question about maybe the Pope that you would have had to get, or had a question about God, give me another example here. Some pedophile. Some of those people got lumped in with people who believe the earth is flat. So you'll see it in the comments, like somebody could be like, oh yeah, this guy right here is a pedo. And then somebody right below there would be like, oh, you probably believe the earth is flat. And this is the problem with lumping or getting lumped in with people that you they may agree with you on a lot of things, but the way they present your cause is more detrimental than beneficial. And I realize that some people might even say that about the way he speaks, but it's obviously working though, because like a lot of younger guys, the people that he's speaking to, which is actually not even a small portion of the population. There are a lot, and we're going to assume that some of these guys are white, but not all. But there are a lot of white people in America though. So even on a voting block, you know, if we think that Charlie Kirk had power, if one could say that Beyonce has power or Taylor Swift has power that make people vote for who she says, as does this guy. So apparently something about his delivery is working. And let's go ahead and see some more of that. And hopefully we'll get to something that is, I don't know, it's just kind of silly. I don't know. I'm not really seeing anything that is that huge of a deal why he's not allowed to be on any show on the internet, but let's check it out.
It prompted him for a username, and his
Well, other than some of the words that he used earlier, but anyway, go on.
first thought was like, Lucky Larry. Lucky Larry wasn't there on
Well,
9/11.
wait, and not allowed to be on the internet, but maybe Pierce Morgan doesn't want to have the, I mean, I don't know, for some reason, I think there's like, anyway, doesn't YouTube censor words like great? Anyway.
Because I choose did not. So it's like, okay, like maybe we need to relax. Maybe it's time to relax a little bit. You know, we could just pick for the username. How about like, I don't know, Super Chatter Groiper. I don't know. Ohio Groiper, you know, guy from Ohio, like something like that. Some pseudonym. I don't know. That's actually crazy. I think we're good on that. But thank you. But I
Peterson
do
sent
appreciate it.
$20. How lonely is it to be the only brilliant voice in an ideology and fandom that is filled with nothing but the dumbest minds on planet Earth?
That's dude, people are stupid. You go to any fandom, everybody's retarded. You think the Daily Wire audience is smarter? You think Crowder's audience? It's just,
Yo, Nick,
we have to wrestle with the fact that 80% of the population is
Nick had that haircut from what's that movie? Bill Murray. He was bowling and he had his toupee flying off there at the end. Anyway,
completely fucking retarded and irredeemable. And that probably includes you. Everyone hearing this is saying, right, it's those other 80% of, no, it's likely you. Okay. If there's a million people watching the show, 800,000 of you, and you know, there's like a selection bias. Maybe it's less, but like, yeah, like 80% of the population is kind of irredeemable. And, you know,
80% of the population is average, man. Jesus. I mean, irredeemable, sure. See, I don't know if I agree with that, but let's go.
no, we're going to like treat them humanely. We're not going to like torture them to death and stuff, but like they can't make decisions for us.
MTG face hit the brick ceiling.
Now, that might be a good point, though. Average people might not, maybe even though they are impacted by the decisions of others, they often don't think in long terms and they think emotionally. Let's go on.
Yes, it did. And yes, it did. Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah. The ceiling is made out of bricks. She couldn't climb up to it, man. She fell. She didn't even encounter the ceiling. She just fell. Marjorie Green, never been a fan. Never been a fan of women in politics. Better yet, never been a fan of women in general. Never been a fan of a woman in Congress who's going to be the leader of the populist movement. Sorry, not my first choice. And just when I thought I was going to have to put that aside for the sake of the movement, I was going to have to get along with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she reminded me that I'm always right. She resigned from Congress last week, and everybody wondered why. They said, does she have this sophisticated political agenda? Does she have these ambitions for higher office? Is she running for governor? Is she running for president? She has surged to 6% chance of being the nominee on Polymarket.
Oh, by the way, I see that there are a few people watching. I really want to say appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'm going to try to keep it interesting. I'm still working out the kinks here, and yeah, if there's anything that I can do or any questions that you have. Wait, it's just questions about the okay. I do have a comment here, and it's actually a good comment. I'm going to leave that for a moment. He has questions about I don't think that he said a one ethnic nation. I think I think that is a viral clip, but I'm definitely will get into that maybe at a later date or possibly later on in this thing, or some other time. But in the same way that he's talking about this, about women being in charge, I think that he was saying that certain people are more prone or are better at being in charge, which I don't know that I agree with that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that's what I remember him saying. And then and it's probably more detailed than that. And I think that, it probably includes some immigration policies, and he wanted to keep it, yes, a white nation. But let me ask you this though. And I understand that America is a country of immigrants, right? And that well, before it was called America, it was just a landmass with different tribes and different places, right? And then it was named America by Western European people. And, at the time, like the 1950s, there were largely, um, white people here. 10% black, and the other 90% was probably white. Let's say 1944. Uh, That doesn't make America this white ethno state. But okay, like Japan, right? Um, is Japan a Japanese ethno state? Okay. Anyway, sorry, I'm looking for an answer here. And thank you. No, actually, this is my first stream, and I'm just talking about Nick because he is for, it's not, and again, it's not really him that is this. I mean, he is the cultural phenomenon, but it's the things that he's saying and those topics that people are interested in are the things that I'm interested in. He just happens to be, I guess, the poster child for um, this kind of conversation. Yeah, okay, I'll check out those interviews with those, but let's just move on with this video for now. And I really do appreciate you guys watching and engaging. This is pretty cool. I appreciate it. This is the first stream, episode 1, Noir Society talking
Stop the
shit.
presses! Put a stop on the Marjorie Green options and calls. No, no, no. She didn't resign because she wants to run for president. She resigned because it got too hard.
Okay, and I'm actually interested in what you guys think. First of all, I don't think that he should be canceled for having an opinion that women shouldn't be in Congress. There are a lot of people who are in leadership roles, and because there are a lot of people who are not canceled that had that same opinion. So I am interested, or not even interested in whether or not he should be canceled. I'm just curious about what you guys think and whether or not you're male or female. That may make a difference in whether or not you believe that. So let's go.
Because the pressure got to be a little too much. Southern belle, early hominid, Georgian girl can't play in the man's game, can't play in politics. If you can't take the heat, maybe it's time to get back in the kitchen. Can't take the heat, can't take the pressure. Maybe it's time to get back in the kitchen. Thanksgiving is upon us. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes. Thanks. So Marjorie Green, she's out. She left Congress. And she went on Twitter today and she had an absolute typical female meltdown. Typical female meltdown. This is why you can't put women in politics. Thank you, Marjorie. I really should send her a thank you note. Thank you, Marjorie, for proving to everybody this is why you can't let women in politics, because they just cry. Because they just cry. When shit gets too hard, they just cry. Mike Cernovich, who I don't even like, left her a very innocent reply. He said,
I think there actually are studies that, and I'm not saying this applies to everyone and across the board, but even with babies though, I think there was like a situation where they put I'd like to pull this up, but anyway, there was a boy baby and a girl baby, and then they couldn't get to the mom, and the girl baby sat and cried, and then in order for someone to figure that out for her, whereas the boy baby tried to figure out a solution of how to get to her. I don't remember what that is. Some of you guys might know what I'm talking about here, but there is something to what he just said. Now, whether or not that means that women shouldn't be in leadership roles, that's not what I'm saying, but it is to be noted that we approach problem solving in large part, not all cases, but differently. Let's go.
you should have continued and served out your full term. You should have finished. what you started. And Marjorie launches this big screed.
And is it a common thing that people quit anyway before their term's up? I know maybe running for president or something like that does happen, but just for these reasons that Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying.
She says, "What? I should serve out my term. Why don't you run for Congress?" That's what she says. "You should get off your ass and run for Congress. I've been fighting so hard." She goes and she says, "What do you want? You want me to die like Charlie Kirk? Is that what you want? You want me to get killed like Charlie Kirk?" Are you kidding me? A congresswoman to Mike Cernovich. All he said was, you really should have finished out your full term. It's only 2 years. That's not a long time. 2 years? You're halfway through. Just, hey, run through the finish line. Run through the first baseline. He said, just finish. She goes, "Why? You want me to get killed? Why don't you get off your ass? Stop being a keyboard warrior and put the phone down and you run." Oh my gosh. And the only thing that I regret is that I wasn't with other people. I wasn't with the men, so we could all kind of share the knowing glance, like, get a load of this psycho bitch crashing out. Get a load of the emotional meltdown. Oh boy, here we go. That's the only regret. I was like in bed on Twitter. Then it gets better. She comes back for more. She quote tweets her own tweet, her own crash out on a different account, on her official Congresswoman account. And she says, "I'll say this in the nicest way I can. Fuck you." And then she launches into yet another tirade, this time directed at men specifically. She said, "Typical man, typical Republican man. You expect your dinner on the table, but I've been telling you that the trash hasn't been taken out and the dishes aren't clean."
Right. A Republican man. These are the people that voted for her. This kind of a ridiculous, just a ridiculous way to communicate. You get more bees with honey. God, is it a woman thing? I'm not sure. A lot of people communicate in those ways.
Then she closes it by saying, "I'm going to tell you, Republican men, make your own dinner, asshole, and clean up when you're done." Representative Green, this is a sitting congresswoman. She says, such a typical Republican man. Make your own dinner, ass, and clean up when you're done. It's like, oh my gosh. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks. Christmas came early, man. Black Friday came early. What a gift to us misogynists. What a gift. Thank you. A gift to the misogynistic men in your life. So I saw that. I said, wow, amazing, amazing. It's really amazing. Because I had my beef with her. And like I said, I've had people kind of on my ass about this. Tucker said, "Why do you attack Marjorie? She's a sincere fighter." Bro, she's a fucking woman. Did you forget? Or what are you? Are you a woman too? Or you're an enabler? It's all these disgustingly attention-hungry and power-hungry women, and they get together with the faggots. Like moth to a flame. Like it doesn't matter how Republican, how conservative.
There's definitely one way of putting it, for sure, brother.
Ann Coulter, fag hag. Ann Coulter and Ryan Gerdusky, moth to a flame. Marjorie Greene and Milo, moth to a flame. Candace Owens and Milo, moth to a flame. Candace Owens, be with your kids. Your kids want your attention. Like, shit. Could you imagine Candace Owens' kids, what they're thinking right now? Mommy is over there in the office, and like, the wallpaper's been ripped off the walls. It's just yarn everywhere, pinned up to the wall. Pictures of trannies, pictures of Brigitte Macron's penis, pictures of Emmanuel Macron, pictures of the Sanford prison experiment. Could you imagine, like, the empty bottles of wine? Could you imagine for a moment? The printer paper everywhere. Could you imagine things pinned up all over the wall? Eventually, she's probably just smearing the wall with paint or blood or something, scrawling things on the wall. Brigitte Macron did this. Brigitte Macron, hi, Brigitte Macron. Like, she's writing it in crayon or marker on the walls. Brigitte Macron killed everybody. Brigitte Macron started a war in Iran. And could you imagine what the kids are like? "Mommy, I'm hungry." You know, the kids are knocking at the door. Mommy, why are you yelling? Why are you screaming? Is everything okay? It's like, dude, this is abuse. This is wife abuse. I am going to turn out to be the #1 crusader for women's health and women's well-being, because what these men are doing to these women is abuse. Putting your wife in Congress is abuse. She's going to, bad things are going to happen to her. This is abuse. She can't handle it. Putting your wife on YouTube with 1 million followers and saying, hey, go nuts. Dude, her husband should be put in jail. Could you imagine if this was your wife going live every day, bobbing her head and saying, yeah, so then I told the president of France, I know you were an MK Ultra victim. And what is he? He's leaning up against the wall with his arms folded. That's why I married this woman. You go get him, Candace. You tell the Illuminist, Frankist conspiracy what's up. God help us. God correct these people.
Her show is big as hell. At the very least, I guess that's entertaining. I haven't watched a lot of it lately, but man, he does got some good points here for sure. The dude is not lying. Also, thanks a lot, Chad Silver, for the interaction, brother.
What is this? What are we doing to our wives? What are we doing to our families? Candace is going live every day, bobbing her head, deputizing her followers. God knows that's going to end well. We're the intelligence agency. Everyone was wearing maroon. They're wearing maroon. The yellow plane went this way. The blue plane went that way. And everyone was wearing maroon. And they all have a bee keychain on their backpacks. And the husband's got to be sitting there. What is your obligation to this person? Don't you have an obligation to intervene here?
Legend has it the original screening of A Bronx Tale had a group of obnoxious Chinese tourists going into the bar and getting roughed up and dealt with by the neighborhood crew. SAG didn't like how it highlighted Chinese stereotypes, so they made the producer change it to a white motorcycle club.
Good. I like that. I think that's better. I love to see Italians beating the shit out of hillbillies. I love it. That's my favorite scene. That's my favorite genre is in Italian movies when cowboys.
I'm actually going to pull up that interview with the Hodge twins, and let's see here. Oh shit! Got all the porno in the background there. Let's hear those controversial opinions. Let's see what's going on here. It's a little long. I hope maybe you guys got some timestamps for me.
Could transform your legs, ankles, and feet. Even top doctors are baffled. Turns out this.
The Black Friday BOGO sale is here at All Family Pharmacy. This is the time to take charge of your health from November 24th.
Hey, I was going to ask.
I actually like the Hodge twins. I think that they're not super deep, but I'd love to have a conversation with them, though. They're pretty funny guys.
I came across a video you was with Kanye. Y'all still pretty close?
Yeah. We still talk pretty sporadically.
Yeah.
So I've known him for.
Also, on some full ADD disclosure, I'm just going to jump around until I find something that is interesting. Oh, shit. You got some ad popping up. That's what's up.
They give me shit. Because I go on my show and I'm like, I really do. And I'm not just saying this. I really do deeply admire him. He's got this work ethic that's unbelievable. Wakes up at the crack of dawn and works from 4 a.m. until midnight.
Wow.
Never seen anything like it. And he's doing music, he'll
Honestly, I don't give too much of a fuck about Kanye, to be honest.
And you look over your shoulder, if you cross the
not even saying that in a bad way. It's just, he's just personally, whatever. He doesn't, he's controversial.
street,
And that's
and it's a good black person, you're a racist. If you don't cross the street and they're a predator, you're dead. It's no win situation, right? So,
A predator.
tell you this. Well, predator, opportunist.
Hold on. Let me touch on this one time. And I know that there was, I remember the clip where he said, most people's interactions with black people is, you're driving down the road and they're in the side on the Ultima or whatever. Okay, the statement itself, although there's a lot of truth there, is just inaccurate. It's like most people, sure, you can say this. Let's see if people could contend with this and call me racist for saying this. Most people's negative interactions with strangers are with black people. That's probably more accurate than saying most interaction. Like if you go to a Walmart and there's like, you know, most people there are black, it's not like of 100 people, 51 of those people I had a negative interaction with. But if somebody is acting crazy at a register, or if somebody is, you know, going to be yelling in public, or not yelling in public, but yelling maybe at you or at a stranger or causing some shit, or got to get the manager over there or whatever, you know, you got to give the man a point. A lot of time those people do look like kind of similar, you know, and and again, that doesn't apply to everyone. And, you know, I can get into some possible addressing this. See, I don't know. I mean, anyway, this is a really deep topic. I don't want to just dive right in. I'm barely into this first video. And yeah, I'm about to fucking start stepping in some real cat shit right here. So let's just go one step at a time.
Yeah. I mean, that's perfect adjective, predator.
Live around you know, I just because they're obviously not every black person's a predator, and
right.
But there are these opportunists that are they're crawling the streets at night looking for people not paying attention, young girls, young men.
Yeah.
And so I said on my show, I said, white people don't want to live near black people. If that's what it's, yeah.
Oh, okay. Clip.
I don't want to live around black people. I just don't. It would be irresponsible if I had a wife and kids to live near black people. It just would be.
Also, let me just make this clear. I'm talking about this right now, and not because I think this particular conversation is the most.
And that's not to say that every black person.
Not because I think this particular conversation is the most important conversation right now. It's just these are the conversations that make people come on with this fuck ad. Anyway, it's because these conversations are are the reason why people won't let him talk. The conversations that he talks about that I think should be talked about are far more interesting, and I want to get to those at some point. Right now, I'm just kind of addressing the guy and why people hate them, and let's just see if that is justified. So let's get.
Is violent. It's not to say that every black person is the same way. But we watch the news. We read the papers. When you drive downtown in Chicago, you know who you got to look out for and worry about when you're thinking about whether you're going to get carjacked, when you're worried about catching a stray bullet, when you're worried about who's going to pull up on the side of the road and literally shove a rifle in your face and steal your iPhone or shoot you point blank.
And I mean, I've been robbed. Oh, shit. Sorry. I've been robbed by strangers before. Like, not proud of that or anything, but I'm saying just walking down the street at night, and then two guys just came around the corner and then with guns and robbed me and my friend. And believe it or not, they did fit the same description. I'm not saying that that's, you know, that's just a anecdotal experience here, but it's relevant to me.
Execution style in Lincoln Park. We know who's doing it. I don't want to live near them. I don't want to be near them. They make me nervous. That's a survival instinct. And the way this story unfolded, it's sort of interesting. Apparently, this white student, this Austin Metcalf, confronted a friend of the killer, presumably black also, and said something like, hey, you're sitting in the wrong spot. You're in my spot, something like this. And that's when the black guy jumped in and stabbed him to death. Unfortunately, we just don't know. When you're on the subway, when you're driving in your car, when you're in the city streets, you don't know whether the black person in proximity to you is one of the good ones or one of the ones who is going to summon an unbelievable, I mean, literally, for people like us, an unthinkable level of spontaneous brutality, senseless and merciless violence in an instant. We don't know. There's ambiguity. You're sitting on a subway. You look across. You see someone acting strange or aggressive. Is this someone who is going to pull out a knife and in 2 seconds slit my throat and kill me? Or is this just someone who's having a bad day? We don't know. I'm not willing to risk my life to find out. It's not worth it to me. I'm not willing to put myself in a position to find out.
Scott Adams couldn't have said it no better himself.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everybody, it's your only two
God
favorite black
damn.
guys. And we got a new favorite giveaway. This Jeep Rubicon.
Come on, man.
Well, if I just saw you,
I'm not
I wouldn't trust that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, unfortunately, a stereotype, which is based in reality, is that when you live in a black neighborhood, you're going to get this set of problems. You're going to get violence. You're going to get mayhem, chaos. And it's not even just that. It's just rudeness, people being inconsiderate. And if people associated with black people with being friendly, being kind, being peaceful, no one would have an issue. People say, oh, great, black people moving in the neighborhood. It's awesome. Property value's going to go up. You know?
That's not what's going to happen.
No. So, that's the issue.
Man,
And
that is an issue, and that's going to have to be addressed culturally. Anyway, that's going to have to be addressed culturally. In that, and I think I can't remember who was mentioning this before. Who was talking about shame? Anyway, yeah, shame is the way to address that for sure. You have to shame people for doing bad acts.
So, you know, I said that, and Jason Whitlock, you know, he's super Christian, as am I. And he said, well, you know, this is an attempt to incite racial hatred between white and black people, to divide up the races with this, you know, with this incendiary rhetoric.
You know, honestly, I think that this is the way to end the separation between, like, maybe if there were issues that were addressed, and maybe, you know, if there were issues that white people need to address, and white people as a culture, not just like each individual white person is walking around doing X, Y, and Z, but maybe we could work together, and maybe, you know, I think that talking about these issues is the way to solve them, not the way to drive a wedge, as Jason Whitlock was implying, according to Nick.
And I said, look, here's the problem. You can reconcile white and black people with Christianity, but in my opinion, that happens second. What has to happen first is law and order. Unfortunately, you have this cycle in America where you have very good laws, safety, you know, you have police are active enforcing the law. And then you get the activists that come in and say, oh, there's too many black people in jail, there's too much police brutality. So people say, oh, all right, you know, we're going to ease up. We're going to, mass incarceration is a problem. Police brutality is a problem. We're going to let them go. Then the violence gets out of control. Then you get, you know, the crack epidemic. Then you get, you know, the 80s, 90s. People go, it's out of control. We need the crime bill. We need the cops back on the street. We need stop and frisk. So then it's good for, you know, 20 more years. Some people say, the police are racist. We got to get rid of the cops.
I think that was a good law they passed.
It
Stop and
is.
frisk, it is.
100%.
On the street. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the cycle. It's like this amnesia where it's that classic meme, you know, good times create weak men create bad times, sort of like good crime laws create good times. Good times make people think the crime laws are racist. And then, you know,
There you go.
the cycle repeats.
Right.
So, you know, so what I'm saying is enforce the laws. And by the way, the biggest beneficiary would be the black people themselves. It's like you said, who's hurt by this? Occasionally it's white people. But the vast majority of people that are killed are black people.
Right,
The people that live in poverty are the black people. It's those neighborhoods that can't have a Walmart because of all the shoplifting. So you enforce the laws. Unfortunately, there's going to be disproportionate, you know, representation. There's going to be more blacks in jail. But you got to arrest every lawbreaker. And then once you get the worst of the worst off the streets, the worst predators, opportunists, then you can reconcile the people with Christianity. But, you know, if you want to evangelize to these people in Chicago, I mean, be my guest. But I don't think you're going to get through. When you see these videos, unfortunately, a lot of them are just lost. And, you know.
I mean, they made a whole show around that. First 48.
Okay, and I'll say this, going back to the shame thing, man, and especially in a place like Chicago, a lot of the kids are lost because, like, and I've heard this expressed before. I think Steven Crowder said this, but like, I don't know who. But anyway, there isn't really that much white music where people talk about killing each other and robbing each other and stuff. And it is the relatively black thing. And then you could say that that's associated with poverty, but then poverty is also kind of associated with country music, and country music doesn't really talk like that. Now, I don't listen to country music, but I just assume that that's not what they're talking about. And so the wrong things are being glorified. And for a kid, the things that are being glorified are the things that matter. It's not like maybe if the like one of the some kid with a shiesty on, you know, robbing somebody in O Block at 18, sure, maybe at 38 he might think differently, but at 18, yeah, there's no evangelizing to this person. He's 100% into what he's trying to do. Anyway,
That's a documentary of the culture of black folks.
Hmm.
Have you seen it?
No.
You haven't seen the first 48?
No.
It's
Oh,
on
that
any-
show made me racist.
It's like it's the first 48 hours. They just track the point where somebody's killed and the first 48 hours of the investigation.
Mm.
Primarily, you see black people killing black people, but there
Kentucky.
are some white people.
Yeah, like 1 out of every 100. Yeah, but it's predominantly.
true.
Just,
Oh, I mean, of
and
course,
they're killing
of
each
course.
other over the most trivial things. It's shocking.
Yeah, the reason why
They do get killed over the most trivial things, and then there's also a retaliation killing thing, which kind of gets out of control. It's like, yeah, you know, when will it end? One person kills somebody for whatever XYZ, robbing them over a girl or whatever, and then this person got to kill him and his homies because the one guy got killed, and now their friends got to kill their friends. It's like, man, just out of control. It's something that I have never experienced. Don't want to experience, but it's not the way I grew up. You know, it's kind of it definitely I don't know. Anyway, I don't know enough about that in regards to, like, I don't know how it is in like Mexican gangbangers and shit. Is it the same thing? But anyway,
black people have something against your message that you showed,
Mhm.
it's because they don't believe that black people are dangerous
Mhm.
any more than white people. They actually think you are being racist by making those accusations that don't exist, but they're 100% factually true. That's why what you said does not bother me at all.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know it's true.
Because you pretty basically talking about niggas. I'm a black male. He has a problem with niggas. And me being a black male, we can't stand niggas either.
I mean, Chris Rock had a famous joke,
Yeah.
and it was funny as hell when he said it, but
Let's go to that tweet, man. You made a great point when y'all was going back and forth.
Mm.
Jason Whitlock said, every bit as godless and stupid as your critics say. You're Ray Epps 2.0. I can't say it. Pointing foolish believers.
Shut you fucking dumb
I
nigga.
can't
You
see
can't
it.
read.
Let me see it.
I can see it.
yeah,
You're every bit as godless and stupid as your critics say. You're Ray Epps 2.0, pointing foolish believers into a building that will burn them down for eternity. Many of the people captured by the wickedness of black culture can claim ignorance. You know exactly what you're doing, demon. See, I don't think it's ignorance of the black community. You can't teach a conscience.
Mm.
You
Right.
can't teach that. The enemy is paying people on social media.
you know what? I think that you can. I mean, if a person has the capacity to understand, if the person has, I'm gonna check out these comments in a second. What'd you say, matey? Okay, I'll get into that in just 1 second. Yes, okay. So this comment says here, I am talking about the music. Yes, I am talking about the music, but the music is, I think that, and in the case you're describing, yes, there are probably people who might be kind of, and they own the record labels, and yes, they do push these kind of, they did push violence into the community for sure. I agree with that. That doesn't mean that they're responsible for that being there. They are responsible for that being publicized in such a way. But and can you teach a conscience? I want to comment on that real quick before I go into these comments. And yes, the music industry as a whole, I do agree, does push degenerative behavior, be that hoish behavior or. But right now, in the conversation that he's having, is referring specifically to a certain community. And as far as teaching a conscience, I do think that a conscience can grow as one's perspective changes. And through that, yeah, and like maybe through wisdom, or I mean, I know that's a broad term, but I'm saying more understanding if we all walk around feeling like you're just an individual, and not worrying about the impact that you're making on everything around you, even, let's say the animals, and I'm not going to say the environment, but I'm just saying on the interaction of things around us. Like, so that's with other humans, or even picking up trash when you walk down the road as opposed to throwing it down. These things can be taught, but if it's just culturally accepted to throw trash on the ground, then you don't really see the wrong in that. And so it's not a lack of consciousness makes a person do that. It's just a lack of understanding, I believe. Anyway, let's go.
To promote racial division and conflict.
Do you know there's a 2-ingredient recipe that's threatening Big Pharma's billion-dollar profits because it can fight dementia in just a few weeks?
My God.
The aftermath of
And also-
Metcalf
God
Carmelo
damn it.
Anthony is a psyop.
And to make another point about that, like for instance, something like an IQ, sure, it's very possible that, and I'd have to do more research on this, but the people's IQ can be genetically predisposed. However, I think that even a person who might at a younger age have an average IQ, I don't know about below average, but let's say average, I believe that through study, I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. I'm just guessing here. I believe that a person can grow, and then if it were person after person after person within a certain group growing, then eventually the group itself would be growing. Anyway.
I don't think that's a sign.
No, don't fall for it. Stand on the word, rebuke any so-called believer, and not pointing to Christ.
Don't you think in his message, in a roundabout way, he's saying black people are incapable of a rational thought and white people are superior, so we're going to give them a pass? Pretty much he's saying black people are inferior to whites with that message, because I don't think they can claim ignorance.
Right. Yeah.
Black people are not vegetables. They know exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's sort of the issue is, you have this new breed of conservatives where they want to hide behind the cross. They're pushing a BLM woke. It's exactly like you're saying. They used to call it the soft bigotry of low expectations, reverse racism, whatever. And now you have conservatives with the exact same mentality, which fundamentally means blacks have no accountability.
Right.
Like you said in the tweet, they can claim ignorance. What does that mean? It means they're not culpable. They're not responsible. They have no agency. We can't blame them.
No. Now, and what I just said, I know that I did say something about, that actually wasn't far from that, about they claiming ignorance or that they are ignorant. I'm not saying that they can claim ignorance. I'm saying that, and this doesn't apply to everyone, but and this also applies to different cultures about different things. But what we're referring to in this conversation, that there are some ignorant practices happening culturally. That's it. That doesn't. I'm not saying that that makes anyone ignorant in their soul or in their potential or in the potential of the group.
Their IQs are very low.
Right.
They can't help themselves. When they rob somebody, they steal a car. They're wired that way. I don't know. Hey, I think your response to him, I love your response. What you said.
So tired of hearing that black crime is caused by black culture. For some reason, rap music doesn't make white people steal cars and shoot people.
Yeah.
It only works on black people.
That was a great response.
Thanks. Well, yeah, I mean,
And it
'cause
made me rejudge the things I'm saying. I keep saying about black people.
Yeah.
Man, it's our culture, it's the music, it's in the moods, but that's just an excuse.
Yeah, and he's coming from this point of view that you're teaching white people to be racist. Everything you're saying, they already thinking it. You just got the balls to say it.
Right.
So you're not, it's white people know what's up. Yeah.
Look, this is true in a sense that not everyone's thinking it the exact same way that he's saying it, but to a degree, there are a lot of conversations that need to be had, whether it be about the Jewish people or whether it be about, and in this case, it's, and again, in answering these questions or in moving past these grievances from anyone, any group having grievances that are justifiable, we are growing closer. Even though it sounds kind of frictional in the beginning, it does bring the whole of us closer together, and instead of separating us more. But if people want to be separated more, then obviously that's the direction that's going to go. Tribalism is definitely, something that's innate within us, and you have to almost be, conscious about making the decision to want to join groups together, because the drive or the compulsion is toward tribalism.
They do.
Yeah.
I knew what was up when I was like 12 years old.
Right.
I said, I'm going to play with Scott. I'm not playing with fucking Tyrone over there. I mean, the first gun that was ever put on me was at 12 years old, and it was a black kid, and we were on the basketball team together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going into basketball practice.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You
I
know
still
that?
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's true. That's what I intend to do with the show is, I mean, I'm expressing my opinion, but I'm also speaking for a lot of people that don't want to
Right.
offend or they don't want to get canceled. And unfortunately, as far as we've come, because people have woken up a lot on a lot of different issues, people are still paralyzed out of fear of being called racist, saying the wrong thing, offending people.
Look, and as far as this goes, and I do appreciate the conversation being in a place that, as a white guy, that I can finally talk about things without being called a racist. But at the same time, the people are with the nigger and the monkey word, all this other stuff. Like, it just is distasteful. I mean, I'm not saying that it's illegal to say and that it's just wrong to say. I just think it's an ineffective way to communicate if the end game is for something positive. If the end game is to drive the wedge and then to excite one side of that argument, then sure, it's a very effective way. Or even to get views and to get clicks. And then that way it's very effective because that opens the door for you to have the conversation about many different topics. I'm just saying that as a person who's been alive long enough to watch the pendulum swing from the N word being acceptable to it being unacceptable to now it being still, I mean, rather unacceptable to most people, but being used again. I'm not saying I prefer a place where it's like, you can't say it. I just preferred a place. I actually much preferred it when we just chose not to say it. But anyway, that's just me personally, you know. Wait, in the 90s. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the 90s, everybody got along. I'm like, what? I'm so confused about how things became so, and obviously the internet has a large part in that, and media has a large part in that for driving the wedge back in. But it's like, and these conversations have to happen. It's just that some people are just taking it too far. It's like, and then for a long time, it's like, white people, you can't say shit. You can't say anything. Don't have a topic. Don't have an opinion on anything. And then now we just grab the mic and everyone's like, you know what? Fuck you. And that's just where it is right now. And I think that things will settle down a little bit and get, I'm just saying that those particular words and approaches can be, you know, unproductive in the kind of productivity that I would suggest. But you know, not cancel culture on my end. I'm not saying you can't say it. Anybody can say whatever the fuck they want.
And the reality is that I think that race, it's one of those things you're never going to fully bridge that divide. You know, you have white people, you have black people. They're different. They identify differently. And this idea that we're going to be so Christian, we're going to overcome that, or so American, I don't think it's going to happen. And that doesn't mean we have to hate each other. I think we could live in harmony. And I think, you know, we could strive for understanding and empathy. But, you know, the idea that the only reason we're set in conflict is because of racists dividing us or the media or the culture, it's just not true. People are tribal. It's who we are. It's in our genetics. And nothing's going to change that.
I
think this one, Carmelo Anthony.
Now, and one little comment on that tribal thing. Again, I was saying that you have to be, I guess, have a higher IQ to be above being tribal. And I don't want to get into IQs and averages, but I just want to say that, yes, if there will never be any blend if one group is stuck in a tribal mindset. Anyway.
Case, it really, you know, it should open a lot of people's eyes how tribal we can be, because when Daniel Penny, what happened with him on the subway with that Michael Jackson impersonator, a lot of white people came to his aid. A lot of people came to his aid and donated money to him to help him in his defense, which I understand why. I don't think it was a racist. I don't think then.
Look, and before, I don't even know what he's about to say here, but the thing is about, it's not just white people coming to his defense. It's that in that instance, he was in the right, and I hate that the other person died. And the tribalism comes in. Anyway. Like the Carmelo Anthony case. there's not really any way that this can be justified where he was in the right there. He wasn't trying to save anyone. He didn't. It wasn't self-defense. It wasn't anything like that. And the amount of people that come to his aid, that is the tribalist aspect. It coming to someone's aid who was righteous. I mean, even and if he was in the right, and if he was protecting someone, white people and black people would have donated to him, Carmelo Anthony's family, and for them to buy a house and whatever the hell else they did.
It was because they're racist. But then you look at Carmelo Anthony, where here's a black kid who obviously did something wrong. He should have never had that knife. But you see a lot of black people defending him, not because he was right. It's because they defend him because he's black.
Mm-hmm.
Almost $500,000.
Yeah, it's up to $500,000.
Yeah, but if the shoe was on the other foot, the circumstances was the same, just the races were reversed, white people would not embrace what
Exactly.
happened.
That's the difference I want to point out
Oh,
when it
okay.
comes to black
Well, apparently we're on the same page then on this.
and white.
Mhm.
Culturally, I mean, spiritually, I mean, you go on Facebook, TikTok, it's black people, black pastors defending that kid's
They're comparing
actions.
Carmelo Anthony to Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even comparing apples to oranges. They're comparing apples with hairy nuts. it's like low IQ, low capacity.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can.
It does
really
boil
call
down
it.
to IQ in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
They're trying to say,
I mean, and that goes for anybody who has a dumb argument, not just not any particular group I'm saying, but like low IQ arguments are low IQ argument or thinking. Low IQ thinking is what it is.
self-defense.
Right.
Like, and they even brought up the accusation that if you tell somebody to leave, that's bullying.
Right.
I was like, how did you reach that point where you consider that bullying?
Yeah.
You have
I'm
to
on
be
TikTok and I'm
mentally
looking at everybody's
stupid.
reaction
Yes.
about what happened.
Well, it's like you said, it's just
Okay.
pure.
Look, and then I want to comment right here. You did say there are those that eat up the propaganda and those that see through it. You know, I think that also there's like an emotional drive. I mean, gosh, like for instance, you know, let's just say that somebody was watching a boxing match and there's a black guy and a white guy boxing. Do you automatically identify with one or the other? If you don't know who they are and you're not a fan of either, if it's not Tyson versus, you know, Jake Paul, and you're like, obviously I want Tyson to win. But if it's just two random strangers, if you're a black guy, would you watch this and say, oh yeah, you know, I want the black guy to win, would beat up the white guy? If you're a white guy, would you say that? You know, so even though these people are strangers, propaganda or not, the compulsion might be to side with, at least in your mind, the person who looks like you in a more tribal way. Anyway.
Yeah, for
Okay.
Carmelo Anthony, right? And the black reaction is what you expect.
But white people, obviously not all of you, so let me just get that out the way. But a bunch of y'all are just a bunch of racist, bigoted crisis actors.
People really believe that kid had the right to tell Carmelo to move. This kid wasn't working security. He wasn't.
Bro, had the right to tell him to move. We're talking about the right to stab somebody, dude. That the telling somebody to move or why he stabbed him is irrelevant, cuz if the reason he stabbed him wasn't because the motherfucker was trying to kill the damn guy, then it's unjustified. This shit is low IQ, but we'll continue on.
Given no responsibility. He wasn't the seat manager. Like, if that kid would have just minded his own business, would he or would he not still be alive?
Officer got unalive. People are trying to make it a race issue, and it's not. It has nothing to do with that right there. This was self-defense.
That's
And this is
crazy.
all over TikTok. I see a lot of posts
Now
on-
look, that's the closest thing to an argument. I mean, you'd have to prove that, which it can't be proved, but there you go. That was the only thing so far that made any sense, at least in a spoken way.
Facebook. Talking about just self-defense.
Yeah.
From one demographic of people. Yeah, it's all black people.
Did he have any interest?
Do you see his
This
mugshot? Clean face, nothing.
No scratches, no nothing.
No punches were thrown from what I heard so far. Yeah, it's something wrong with the black community.
I was like, man, you can't. Be
And look,
this
you know, it's possible. I'm not sitting here saying that Austin Metcalf wasn't trying to be intimidating or even be a bully. I don't know. I wasn't there. High school kids are like that. However, the fact that you just can't stab them, you just can't stab somebody just for fucking pissing you off or fucking being bigger than you.
dumb.
Man, if that was self-defense, the murder rates would go up. You could kill somebody for anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
imagine,
right.
look, what horrible precedents that were set. Okay, what? Do something, I'll kill you. Or do something.
No, get out. Stab me, you stupid.
Yeah, goddamn.
I don't have it in me. That's why I didn't respond. I guess it's my white side talking to me, but that's crazy, man. It's just that whole case is like, man, I just lose all hope, especially when it comes to the black community, because like, why would y'all even put y'all's name, your brand behind defending a kid who obviously is wrong.
Yeah.
Dead wrong.
Well, it's base tribalism. You know, it's like you said, they're sticking with this guy because he's black. And I think what is barely concealed is a contempt for white people, which is, you know, it's like a racial pride thing. When they say Rosa Parks, they say, oh, the era of white people telling black people you're in the wrong seat is over. You know,
Exactly,
what's next? A white woman's going to touch a black woman's hair and she's going to get stabbed in the face, you know? Shot in the chest.
Right.
Don't touch my hair. You can't touch my hair.
Your black voice is better than my black voice.
So I practice it more.
Dude's pretty witted though. He's pretty quick with this shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah. But Jason Whitlock, like politically, I align with him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think he's showing way too much empathy for the black community because he is black.
Yeah.
And I've been through that, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm just gonna stand for what's right, and if what's right is that's what I'm gonna stand on. So
Yeah.
And I like him. He's a good guy. I was very positive towards him because initially I disagreed with him. I was very positive. I said, you know, I respect him a lot. He's Christian. I agree. Like you said, I agree with him so much. And then he just had this nasty calling me a stupid demon, saying I'm sending people to hell. So uncalled for. But that is another stereotype, is this like crybaby thing that black people do. A lot of it's like an ethnic narcissism. And it's like you said, it's a bit of a blind spot where, you know, a black conservative can be right on 99% of thing, but when it comes to race, they want to take their ball and go home. When it comes to race, they want to be a crybaby, play the victim. And I think that's all it is, a blind spot. A lot of white people have it too.
Right.
And not even to be that guy, but in fairness, there's an equal amount of people that I know, white nationalist types, very proud. They'll be the first ones to blast black people and their behaviors. You talk about some of the behaviors of lower class white people, they say, oh, you're against white people, you're against your own kind. It's like, let's be honest, you know, let's just be honest about who we are, who the other is.
Do you know there's a 2-ingredient recipe that's threatening Big Pharma's billion-dollar profits because it can fight
All
dementia in
right, all
just a few
right, all
weeks?
right.
My God, what I'm about to tell you happened just a few days ago.
Anyway, man, I really appreciate you guys tuning in here, though.
So yeah, that's what I'm about. Just, you got to be honest.
I think of what happened with Carmelo Anthony.
Also, I'll get the show smoothed out. This is the first one. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll make it more interesting. Set up the situation a little bit more in regards to what I'm going to talk about. I was just trying to get these jitters out, man. I really appreciate it, especially Chad Silver. Appreciate the interaction there, but everybody who tuned in so far, this is really good.
Speak from experience. Growing up as kids, we just had this natural hostility towards white people because of the past and what black people have been through.
What our parents been through,
And what our parents been through.
every day.
Stand up for yourself. Don't let no white people push you around. So I think what happened was he was sitting there. I'm just speculating. And then some white kid tells him to get up and move. And it's that's what caused this whole issue.
Overreaction.
It was race. I think it was race. Yeah. If they're both black-
Totally agree that that's a really strong possibility there. And the part about, and as someone mentioned here earlier, in the 90s, there wasn't that much racism, but that doesn't mean in the 80s and the 70s there wasn't any racism, or even at the time of desegregation. And I could see where somebody's parents could be a little bitter and looking at the past, especially if you don't have a lot of friends that are multicultural. So if you, well, what I'm more referring to is if you're a black person who can only look at the past and your experiences with white people at a certain time, and don't really get out and interact with white people that much now, you probably still hold a little bitterness, and then you're gonna secondhand that bitterness down to someone. And then, like, there are a lot of people who do grow up in communities that are sort of one colored. And if you grow up in a community that's mostly black, and I saw this on the Steven Crowder interview when he was in that barber shop, and then he was talking about the murder rates in the black community and yada yada yada. And one of the black guys in the barbershop said that white guys are doing it at the same rate. They just don't say it. It just don't. This is not publicized as much. It was just absolutely untrue. And if he had lived in a bunch of white neighborhoods, you could just tell that there's a different vibe going on sometimes in that situation. So it's like, for instance, let's say that you lived in some Appalachia community and meth is really prominent where you lived, and you didn't know anything about India, you could assume that in India they do a lot of meth as well, until you went online and you found, I don't know, maybe they do, but I don't know that they do. But your assumption of a place that is you've never been to or heard of is that it's very similar to the one that you're in. So the same thing for the black community. A lot of times some people, unless they get out, like the Hodge twins, or I guess they're half white, half black, their experience isn't just a black experience, and they don't live in a community that's largely black. So they understand more about white people than what they've been told by their peers or social media. Lord, I don't know if that was a rant or not.
Black or both white, this doesn't happen.
Right.
I guarantee it.
Totally.
Just because he's black and we come up and we're raised with this natural hostility.
And also, like, for instance, if Carmelo Anthony, most of his friends were white, I doubt that would have happened also. Something just tells me that. But I don't know, maybe most of his friends were white. I'm just guessing that they weren't, and that he had some sort of hostility towards him, not solely because he was white, maybe because he was being a little bit of a dick or something, or maybe he wasn't. But I think that the whiteness did have something to do with it.
Towards white people, that's why that happened.
Yeah.
That's why it happened.
Yeah, I don't know why. He went to a rival school. I don't know what the area is like, but he's walking around with a knife. I never did that when I was in school.
Frisco, I think, is pretty rough.
Yeah.
I may be wrong on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's a pride thing, because you could totally imagine how that went down. The guy was like a white football Chad, handsome guy comes up and says, "Hey, pal, you're in the wrong area," or puts his hands on something like that. I'm sure some black kid saying, "I'm not taking shit from this white guy." And I don't know that he intended to kill him necessarily.
I don't think he did. Why else would you stick a knife in your chest?
Golly, I can't say he tried to kill him, but man, you stab somebody in the chest. What do you think is going to happen at the end of that, man? Shit, anyway.
That was nuts. Yeah. Have you read the police report?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. They never recovered the weapon, right?
I don't think so. No. Yeah, but it's this impulse thing. That's the problem. Is these impulsive behaviors where, I'm sure in the moment, but when I say, obviously, if you stab somebody, it's a lethal weapon. Like you can't say I didn't know it could kill somebody, but I'm sure in the moment, that split second, he did the first thing, and now his life is ruined. I mean, deservedly so, obviously, but that is the issue, and I think that is the genetic aspect that people don't talk about. I think that I don't think anybody would disagree. Black people or white people, who has a greater propensity for violence? I think on a genetic basis is black people. In the same way that between Asians and white people, who has a greater propensity for violence? I think definitely white people, and that's just another one of those differences. People attribute it to culture. I attribute it to genetics. It's one among others.
Asians, who has the higher IQs? It's Asian people.
You know what?
White people.
I'm actually I'm gonna touch on what he was just not right now, but on the next video, maybe later on tonight. Genetics and culture. Man, I don't know how in the hell I wound up in the weeds on the very first video. Chad, good point. I too grew up in a town that wasn't that great, it wasn't that large, and it was a mixed town, and people did get along. I will say that some of the issues that Nick is currently, Nick and the Hodge twins here are saying plague the black community, did plague the black community in the town that I grew up in. However, everyone did get along for the most part. More so than this seems like it's more divided today.
I guess it's Latinos.
Everybody else, and then black people dead last. I mean, and that's a fact, correct?
Yeah, that's
From
a
what I've
fact.
read up on it, like black people, for whatever reason, and I think when you put anybody in a situation and they have a low capacity to grasp what's going on, that's who's going to commit the most murders,
Yeah.
regardless if they're white,
gonna
black,
make
or whatever.
yeah.
I just think there's a
Man, you know what? This is also a theory that I have, and this is going to be kind of controversial. God, I'm glad. Okay, there's 6 people watching. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay, so this controversial take is not going to be in front of a lot of people, but let's think of it like this. Let's say that a parent had a child, and the parent themselves lived a very sheltered life. They lived in a very small town. They never went to school. They just worked on the farm, and then they had a child. And then the child that they had went to college and traveled the world, skied, went to the North Pole. They've seen a lot of stuff. They've experienced a lot of things. At an older age, I think there will be an air of wisdom that the parents do possess, but on a more practical level, it would make sense that the child will probably have a lot more knowledge, a lot more engineering understanding. I mean, depending on what they studied in school, but even just in seeing different architecture, their scope is broader. And in a lot of ways, they have a more advanced brain than the parents. And I know that there could be a genetic component, but I'm talking about purely just on environmental influence. In the same way, if people did come from Africa, right, and then people went up into Asia, went down deeper into Africa, and then went over into Europe, and then from Asia eventually into the Americas, throughout all of these things that they had to encounter over the thousands of years, different, even different hominoids like the Neanderthal, they, learned how to build castles, how to have air conditioning, build, rifles, big boats, things that you had more environmental circumstances that you had to circumvent, whereas the people or the parents who lived on the same farm dealt with the same issues. They never had to grow in any way. And I know that right now I'm referring, like, the analogy has to do with like just the parents. So their intelligence level is what it is, but over thousands of years, it is very obvious that when the grandchildren, which would be in this case the Western Europeans, when they made it to Africa, they were far advanced to Africans. So, God, now, and again, I don't know. I'd have to do way more research before I can have an opinion on how that actually impacts today in these charts that they're showing right here, or if that is the reason for this. But Nick seems to think so. I can't say that I agree with him on that, but it's definitely a thought.
I don't know. I hate to say it, but there's
Don't say it. I know what you're gonna say.
well, just what I'll say. Low IQ, you can find it in all people.
Right.
I just think it's more prevalent in the black community.
Yeah, I think so too. It would explain the number of black people in prison, and IQ scores back me up on that. Affirms everything I just said. If you look at IQ scores, it predominantly tells you who's going to be
I
more
don't know
successful.
what's going on here. It's like this is all over social media, especially with like black women.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
the first thing they go for is that weed.
It's like, bro, what is going on at the fucking grocery store that is worth that? Quite literally, what the fuck is? And I'm not even referring to race or anything, but to those two people, what is going on at the grocery store that is worth that? My God.
That's low IQ right there. All around. Why would you do that?
Hey, Joe, I don't want to look at this.
That's painful. That's painful to watch, man. Come on, man. Now, I'm not saying that this black people. I don't even know how we got on the black thing. That's just where this video went. All right, let's go.
Joe, this black man,
Look gratuitous.
Joe twirls up and down. I like black women that big. Oh man. Hey, let me ask you this. Back to
Oh yeah, actually, you know what? Since Chad, yeah, you're making a good point here. I'm not saying that. Yes, it has been lost, but if the kids were okay, he's saying that basically if there's some truth to that, but then it's almost lost the skills to grow your own food and herbs and medicine and stuff like that. But the children are not saying that they could have had, you know, the 40 or 50 years on a farm experience. But at the same time, you can also study that in school. And I'm not suggesting that you go to college. That's not even what I'm trying to say. I was more referencing having challenges outside of just the same challenges that you have within the same space for thousands of years, and learning more and writing more and seeing more writing and seeing art from different places. That can help a person grow in knowledge for sure. And yeah.
Whitlock's point. Do you think the record labels and the rap music has some part of the blame when it comes to the black community?
Certainly. I mean, it's certainly not helping. And I do think it exacerbates it, because this is something my grandma always used to say. I've been in Chicago for generations. My family's been there. And, you know, my ancestors were Italian immigrants, Italian, Irish, Mexican immigrants 100 years ago. And so my grandma grew up in the projects with many black people. And, you know, she always used to say that actually, you know, she would look across the window in her project apartment or whatever, and she saw a black family across the way that was more functional than her own family. She said they would hold hands to say grace before they ate, and her household was up for grabs. So
that must made her feel really bad.
I'm sure, yeah. It's psychological.
See, I actually don't agree with that. I mean, I guess okay. What the part I don't agree with is this. Not always in black culture, at least as far as I understand America, has it been God, what is it? Glorified. Has violence been glorified and like hoish behavior been glorified? I'm not saying this recent, like in the last fucking 5 years or anything, but I don't think that that's 100 years old practice.
Logically, right? But, you know, by the same token, she encountered a lot of the same problems you see today, a lot of the same violence. You know, she would get robbed or stuck up by black people in the city. But everybody recognizes, anybody who lives with black people in the cities will tell you there is a generational difference.
You know what's funny is, like, as a white guy, I'm not even really supposed to be watching this or even talking about this, but guess what? I'm fucking doing it.
Older black people, in many cases, they couldn't even read. You know, my grandma had a school. They taught cops how to shoot their guns. It was a security school. And so they would license security guards, cops, do firearms training. And they would train up black people that sometimes couldn't read. You know, they were from the Jim Crow era, from the South.
Right.
But she said they were very honest, very decent, very respectful, polite. So culture makes a huge difference. I don't think it's everything. It's certainly not nothing. And anyone that lived, you know, anyone that had that experience living in a city with black people through the generations will tell you the exact same thing. There's certainly a generational component, but I don't think that explains all of it.
Yeah. Like all my aunts and uncles and my family, there wasn't a bunch of miscreants.
Yeah.
It was like
They
polite.
always wore suits.
Yeah, they always went to church on Sunday.
Right.
I remember
Like,
growing
there's
up.
an image. That's what black people used to dress.
Yeah. I mean, that was the common thing to do.
Yeah.
And now, you know, liberals get hold of black people and just turn into progressives, and now this is what you got.
Yeah.
Well,
I got
hold on a second. Now you're trying to remove blame from, you know, you're putting too much power in the liberals' hands. Now there's still some blame on the people who do the behaviors.
a question. Do you think if just a hypothetical, what would solve a majority of America's problems? Say you
Anyway,
as president.
actually, you know what? I'm going to wind this down. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm going to try to do 2 of these per day, and again, try to come with something a little more maybe organized in the future. But I can't thank you all enough for being here, popping the old cherry with me, and Yeah, I guess we will see you soon. Again, Chad, thanks for all the interaction, and the rest of you guys, thanks for watching. Yeah, much love. I'll think of something cool to say at the end of these, but take it easy. Sorry, so abrupt.